from gentrification based on increased property taxes?
Our city's changing a lot, and it's changing very quickly. They say that in the next 20 years, inside of the loop, there'll be an additional 1 million people living here. There'll be an additional 4 million on the suburban ring around us. We are changing fast. A lot of people already feel like we've been slammed by so many people that have come here. Everyone wants to come to Houston for jobs. But it's going to get much worse. And in areas that are like here, that are close to downtown and have a lot of land, because we've been a city that's really been built on sprawl. That used to work for us, but we are changing that into a place that's going to be much more urban and much more dense. So our challenge is how do we funnel that growth? How do we shape it so that it works for us? It's a huge, really good opportunity too. The development that we need to see to help to break the cycle of haves and have-nots. We are recognized as the most diverse city in our country. We are also recognized as the most segregated city in our country, economically, by income. So I think we need to look at it as an opportunity of how we welcome development into our city and make it work for us. That also means how do we protect, what's most important to us, neighborhoods that we care about. There are some tools in place right now, but I don't think they're enough. I mean, there's the Chapter 42 minimum lot size requirements, there's deed restrictions, there's historic designations, but there's really not enough. I think the city needs to be more creative in looking at other kinds of structures, that help transition, us into this new kind of Houston. Supporting especially elderly people that are here, but it's time. Talk to me afterwards. I will be around. There's a lot to say about this.
Thank you.
First of all, we have to protect our seniors, and the way you do that is you increase the homestead exception for our 65 and older seniors so that the tax can be leveled off at a certain period that they can afford to pay their taxes. And so you don't try to raise that. The other thing we need to do is go to the state and fight them on trying to give tax breaks to our seniors and to people in inner city loop, and continue to fight to get our deed restrictions back in place, and use our city resources, our city attorney, to actually file lawsuits against developers that are not developing properly and friendly to our neighbors. We have to have development because we have to have jobs. The other thing is education. We need to have good schools, and we need to have good schools in all communities, in all neighborhoods, and we have to fight for some good schools. That's the reason when my wife was on the board of Houston Independent School District, Diana Davila, she brought about $400 million into this district and fought hard for our district. I brought about $100 million worth of projects of Houston Community College into this district. And I got criticized from a lot of people, even from elected officials in our own community, not to build the Felix Fraga building. And I'm telling you this because the fight sometimes with our own people to develop. And we have to develop for our children. It's not about Abel Davila, it's not about the city council member seat or whoever sits on this seat. It's about our future. It's about our children, my child who's 6 years old, my son who's 14 years old. It's about them, and it's about your children and your grandchildren. We have to leave a legacy behind. We have to make sure that we elevate our children to a different level. We have to decide one day that there has to be a mayor, maybe from Northside, from 2nd Ward, or from Denver Harbor. One day there has to be a Congress member. One day there has to be someone else that's going to represent us, and we have to make that happen through education and create jobs. We have to also work with our developers and make sure that they're developing and being friendly and fixing our streets. Just because we come to these neighborhoods doesn't mean our streets have to be bad, doesn't mean our sidewalks have to be bad, doesn't mean we have to have our ditch line graded. When I was there with Councilmember Felix Fraga, we actually drove the district and looked for problems and to report. We didn't wait for citizens to report it. Some of them will tell you, will report it to us. That's not the way city council should work. We should be out there working for you. We should be servant leaders.
I think if you've been around this community long enough, for the most part, I've been pretty consistent about this topic in particular about gentrification. If you were fortunate enough to attend the East End Management District's Economic Development meeting, they opened up the meeting by saying, gentrification is here in the 2nd Ward. You know what? That's not necessary. It doesn't have to be that. You asked the question was, what do you plan on doing if you get elected? First and foremost, every single permit that comes through has to be approved by City Council. And with that said, my question is going to be when elected is, did you go to that community and go ask them, how can I help you? Because you didn't do it. It hasn't been done. If you went to the town hall meeting at Guadalupe Church, for an hour and a half, you listened to 25 to 30 speakers speak the same sentiment, discontent. Nobody ever shows up to come and talk to the city community leaders and ask them, what is it we can do for you? Not one. All they do is come in, $300,000, $400,000 townhomes later, and your 87-year-old grandmother has to move because she's forced out because she can't pay the taxes. You can go over here behind Donna Maria's or behind Meredith's and go see that. Go down North Live Oak, go down Kennedy, go down Fox Street, go look at that. Did they ever come and ask those folks, what can we do for you? Better yet, go in the first ward. There is 4 townhomes, 4-story townhomes going up right behind a 1905 home built where my mom lived. And thank God I paid the taxes or else she'd be moved out. You know what? There's no development in Independence Heights. And that's part of this district. Why is that? You don't want to go outside the loop? Those are the questions that need to be asked. Not, I'm going to do this, I'm going to, no. What are you going to do? That's what I plan on doing.
Thank you. Our next question, second question, will be asked by Desiree.